Hello and welcome to the show. My name is John Richardson and you're watching Riffin' the Rubicon, which is the talkie show version of the Richardson's Rubicon podcast. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm absolutely shattered. We've had some good news. My son he's finally got his diagnosis for an issue, which is good. We've been waiting for it for absolutely ages, and he's finally got it. So that is good news for him, I think. And we'll have a talk at some point about issues around mental health sometime on the show. In fact, if ever you do want to call in about things like that, then basically you can always call in to the show. A brief note, though, before I go on with the rest of the content, which is odd content, by the way. So this week I'm going to be talking about that perennial favourite, it seems, of the media, Nigel Farage. But there's some absolutely gobsmacking news going on with this at the moment, as well as some stuff that's going on between Trump and Elon Musk as well. There's a big online fight happening, which is absolutely incredible to watch. It's just something else. It's not something I had on my 2025 bingo card, let's put it that way. But anyway, and the other thing I want to talk about first, though, really, just to sort of get the funny stuff in, is underwater rugby. I mean, have you ever heard of underwater rugby? So, before I go on with anything else, so I'll just say that the lines are open, and I'll put in chat I've got someone in chat. Yep. So basically, I'll just put in chat the link to the call-in section, the bit where you can call in on the show. If you do call in on the show, make sure to close your other window down. Otherwise, you'll hear two things at once. It's like an echo, and it's not very pleasant, let's put it that way. But I'll just put the link to the live talkie show there in chat, so you should be able to see that with no problemo. If you are in chat and you can't see anything, or you would like any assistance, then let me know, and I'll sort that out. Also on the website, where it says on the take part bit, there's a link directly into get on the show as well, so that'll work for you. If not, just say in live chat or ping an email and I'll get right on it. Anyway, this is I'll just open the lines. As I was saying, I've got it all. I don't know what I'm doing tonight. This is a talk show with no plan whatsoever, I'm afraid, and you just got to live with it. So there we go. Lines are open. Where did I put that little video? I can't even remember now. It's there we go. No, it's not that one. Yeah, I'll get it right one of these days. Where is it gone? I did have a little video that goes on saying lines are open, but it seems to have actually disappeared. Anyway, lines are open, and you can call into.
You can now call into the show. Use the link in the show chat. You'll be queued and have a private room with John and the other guests. And before you know it, you'll be live on the show. Make sure your optional camera and necessary microphone are ready. Use headphones if you have them. Be clothed. We'll see you soon. Click that link now.
So, this underwater rugby bit, it was reported by Sky News. Now, underwater rugby has actually been around since the 1960s or thereabouts, but not in any sort of mainstream way. It's always been used as like a training thing rather than anything else, I guess, to build up stamina and stuff like this. But I saw this thing on Sky News, and I just thought, will this ever take off? And I'm not sure if I do need permission for this, but I'll just quickly show this video, or at least a portion of it, for commentary and review. So there we go. Hold on a second.
But ultimately, it's as you've seen on the video, you're in a deep pool, 4 meters deep or thereabouts. That's what we play in Putney. You've got snorkel, flippers, mask, and you're trying to wrestle a ball which is a slightly smaller diameter than a football, filled full of salt water into a large waste paper basket.
I mean, is the goalkeeper allowed to sit in the basket there? Because that's effectively what was happening. It looked like, is that a goal? Would you call that goalkeeper?
Yeah,
defender?
Goalkeeper, exactly right.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 main positions. You've got a goalkeeper, which does exactly that. He puts his back on the goal and uses the fins to put pressure down to hold himself down or themselves down. You've got defender, which lies in front, and then attackers, which do, as I say on the tin, they attack the goal.
Talk to me about the...
That's just mad, isn't it? That's absolutely mad. I love that. So, underwater rugby. I guess there's going to have to be advances in waterproof cameras and all sorts of stuff to get those shots that they do in football matches and rugby matches currently. So I can see probably something like GoPro making a fortune out of these and having them attached to wrists and helmets and all sorts of stuff. But that is just incredible. Underwater rugby. So that was Nick Harvey speaking there, the founder of Pure Underwater Rugby in Guildford. He's the one that's been interviewed, and that was taken from the Sky News website, just for our delectation and delight. Underwater rugby. So also this week, we have had the ever-present Nigel Farage, who has been doing his usual stuff on the media, as opportunist as ever, really. And there's been some sort of spat about a media event in Hamilton. So STV News reported that basically the guy who really can't say no to any media appearance and is literally all over the media all of the time, including, and I hate it, on their show. But basically, he's ducked out of an appearance at Hamilton. And then there was all this amazing hoo-ha over whether or not there was a media event supposed to be there or whether the event was leaked to the press and stuff like this. But Reform apparently did arrange an event in Hamilton. It's just that Farage never turned up, which is par for the course, I think. He doesn't turn up for 41 out of 42 fisheries meetings when he was an MEP. I don't believe he's held a surgery yet at Clacton, where he is an MP. And it tends to just go wherever he wants to go, really. Has anyone got any comments on that? You lot in the crowd? So, he just seems to be quite the Scarlet Pimpernel, I think. The Scarlet Pimpernel of British politics. So there's a lot of calls for that. Then later on, we had an MP of one of their new MPs. Now, what's her name? It was Sarah Pochin. Pochin. Basically, she wanted the Prime Minister to introduce a burqa ban, the Reform MP. And basically, our PM basically wasn't having any of it. But then it got to the chair of the Reform Party, who basically said it's a stupid idea because it's not part of their policy. This opened up a huge row within Reform. And if anyone's been following any of the politics of Reform and the rest of, its iterations like UKIP and stuff like that, and indeed the Tory party, whom I suppose you can really call Reform light nowadays, basically they all sort of fight each other and eat each other to death in the end. That's what tends to happen. But what has happened beyond this is that the chair has resigned. So I'm just going to pop up on screen. Oops, that was another thing. Sorry. So the chair has resigned of Reform UK, saying it's not really worth his spending the time or worth his time trying to promote reform as a party. So behind the scenes, you can imagine there was some challenges going on between the MPs who want now an on the spur of the moment burqa ban, and the chair who really wants some order within the party so that they can prepare themselves for elections and make themselves look as if they can govern, which obviously I don't think they can. So following his departure, which was announced tonight, there was another departure. So the chair, Zia Yusuf, has resigned. We know that much. Now Nathaniel Fried has also resigned, and he is like the head of the Dogue equivalent of reform. So he basically says in his post, stroke, tweet, whatever, I have a huge amount of respect for the work that councils are doing to save taxpayer money and reduce wastage. Okay. Zia Yusuf got me in, and I believe it's appropriate for me to leave without him. I have absolute confidence that the reform Doge will succeed without me, which is interesting because obviously he thinks it would have succeeded with him as well. But there's no guarantee of that, is there? So yeah, there seems to be a case of pop will eat itself going on in the Reform Party at the moment, which is delicious, I've got to say. So if you've got any comments on that, please feel to let me know. You can email the show at john@richardsonsrubicon.com and I'll get right onto that stuff. Now then, I do want to take a quick break, to do the, not a quick break per se, but a quick change in subject. Now then, as you know, on the website, we've got a confessional. And this confessional can't get rid of this now. This confessional, there we go. This confessional attracts a lot of entries. Not all entries I can actually talk about or discuss any further. Some have reached me which are quite disturbing, actually, and I hope they're works of fiction. But some I can't really discuss for legal reasons more than anything else. But I just want to mention that there was one in particular that came through that I got in touch with a number of therapists about. Such was my concern. And the problem I had with it was, well, 3 or 4-fold, actually. There was lots of problems with it. There are unintended consequences that would have come from the actions that were in the confession. And being as I've just been put off there because I've just got a couple of messages come through which have really put me off there. But what I'm going to say is this. If the confession that you sent in involves birthday drinks, now on the face of it, that doesn't sound too bad, but the person who's put the confession in will know what I'm talking about. If this confession involves birthday drinks, then really you need to seek professional advice from a therapist of some sort, because what you are doing and what you have done and what you're planning to do is not normal. It is damaging to a lot of people, not least yourself. So I would advise you to contact a therapist. If you want to put your own confession in, and for legal reasons, some I cannot read out, but basically, if you want to put a confession in, try and keep it light-hearted confessions. You know the type. You know the type that on radio shows and stuff like that. So basically, just do so. Go to the website at richardsonsrubicon.com/confessional, and I'll read it out there. Now then, there is this other matter that I want to talk about, and it's Trumpy, right? Trumpy has done something incredible. what he has done is he's made a post on whatever it is, Truth Social, I think it is, and he's basically said, according to a screenshot that I've seen, because I'm not a member of Truth Social, according to a screenshot of a now deleted post as well. So, you can either treat it as correct or treat it as garbage, your choice. He's basically said we could have saved billions from the US economy if we just ended all of Elon Musk's contracts and handouts from the state, which is quite an interesting thing for him to say. Also, he said, I don't know why Biden didn't think of it. Well, I don't know which Biden he's talking about. The clone Bible that Biden that he reckons exists, or the real Biden. Who knows? But anyway, that's what he's saying. And he was Elon's best bud, or so we thought. And then this pops up. Elon Musk posts, time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump, that's his handle, is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And that was at 8:10 today. That was just over an hour ago. I mean, that is incredible stuff. If true, who knows? But the tweet is there. I've seen it myself. And it looks like those two are going to war over things. So that is just, it couldn't have happened to nicer people. What can I say? Anyway, a very short show tonight. All you need to do, though, is if you wish to take part, you can call in. I'm going to do a quick sort of telephone ring thing, see if you do want to call in. The link is in the chat, and I'll do one more thing for calling, and then we'll end the show if no takers are around.
You can now call into the show. Use the link in the show chat. You'll be queued and have a private room with John and the other guests. And before you know it, you'll be live on the show. Make sure your optional camera and necessary microphone are ready. Use headphones if you have them. Be clothed. We'll see you soon. Click that link now.
No takers? Right. Well, we'll await the result of the by-election that's going on in Hamilton and whatnot, with Reform hoping to take some seats there. And we'll find out what the results are from 10 o'clock tonight. So in my experience, it will probably be about between 12 and 1 a.m. before the results are finally made public. So I'll probably do an addendum on this show and tell you what the results are in the podcast episode that follows. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for sending in your emails. And thank you to the person who sent in the confessional. Unfortunately, can't read it, but the birthday drink person, please do seek professional advice. Thank you. Where am I? Where am I? There we go. Such a professional show. Good morning. Well, it's the morning after the night before. I've just finished my breakfast shift, and the guest we had last night was super pleased with the stay that he had, so that's good. This by-election, which was going on in Hamilton, Larkhall and Stonehouse, basically it's been done, and it's a big surprise result for the SNP, I think. Labour won, so basically it was the victor, Davy Russell. He got 8,500 votes. Katie Loudon, she got 7,957 votes, so about 500 votes less. And Ross Lammy of Reform got 7,088 votes. So really, you could say that it was a close-run situation. There's not a lot in it when you've only got 21,000 votes and you have only one winner that pulls ahead by about 500 votes. So it's not the victory that many would say in terms of a clear victory. It's a close run match. But I think it does send a significant message to the SNP to get their house in order. I was a member of the SNP and I do support independence. But I've got a question. What the hell are the SNP doing about independence? Their webpage on it has not been updated since 2023. I am deeply upset with many of the policies that they've been putting in, not least of which the visitor levy policy, of which I just received a response from the First Minister and Deputy First Minister, basically saying it's got nothing to do with us anymore. It's in the hands of local councils. No, you don't. You don't shrug off responsibility and pass it on to people who really are, it's almost like a closed shop, you know? Basically, COSLA is unaccountable to anyone, who are the union for the councils, if you like, and they played a big part in this legislation that the Scottish Government voted in. So you don't just say it's nothing to do with us anymore. I'm sorry, but I am going to vote accordingly, and if this visitor levy goes in locally, I am going to let the SNP know that I don't want them here. It's as simple as that. And in the general election, when it comes up next year as well, sayonara. So you're going to need to do something about this. You can't just piddle around the edges and say it's got nothing to do with you. And that's one of the reasons that the SNP are going to find it tough in 2026. And the other reason is that John Swinney, nice bloke and all of that business, but he's not a leader. There's no charisma. Basically, he has got... John Swinney who? You know, he's just boring. He's a boring person. Sorry to say that, but it's just true. You need someone with a bit more charisma, but it's too late now. They're not going to replace someone in the year. They're going to put Swinney there, who is intelligent. He knows the politics. He's got everything down pat. He knows everything about independence and stuff like this. But where the hell is he? You know? Why make things difficult for people as well? That's not what the SNP are supposed to be about. And the other comment is Reform. Now, Reform got 7,000 votes, 7,088 votes, so only 1,500 less than the Labour winner. That should send a clear message too, as well. It wasn't as if they got 500 votes or 1,000 votes, right? They're in with a chance. So basically, the Scottish Government really need to get their shit together. That's what they need to do to make sure that they can beat Reform. I'm afraid, from what I've seen, I've not seen anything from the SNP that tells me that they've got any fight left in them. So on that note, cheerio. Don't forget to watch the show when it's live, and don't forget to take part as well. There's plenty of ways to take part. You just go to the website, richardsonsrubicon.com. Anyway, cheerio. I'm going to get back to doing the changeover now, and we've got some fresh guests coming in, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Riffing the Rubicon. The talk show at the end of its tether. This podcast was brought to you by a simple man. The website is at richardsonsrubicon.com, where you will find all social links apart from X. You'll also find the details of the next live show, which is usually on a Thursday at 9 p.m. UK time. There are many ways to take part on the show, from simply listening or watching, reading the show notes, leaving a voice note, emailing the show at john@richardsonsrubicon.com, arranging a fireside chat at a time of your choosing, becoming a guest, or calling in to the talk show during recording. You have no excuses, and we have absolutely no plan. Join in now. richardsonsrubicon.com